trying to get this so my the neighbor's house isn't in the background here. So hopefully everybody enjoyed their precursor to the full moon. It's officially full today. So if you missed it last night, and it is the pink moon, so it does have a hint of color, kind of like um, how a wedding gown might be like eggshell instead of white. You know what I mean? Kind of that kind of thing. So thank you for joining me this morning. Hopefully you're not, you know, recovering too hard. Hopefully you didn't hit it too hard, right, for that full moon. I am going to go ahead and do the romance angels today because I did not get to those the other day. I thought I might. So we'll go ahead and start with those, okay? And we'll see what kind of trolly folks come up this morning. It's like the trolls are more like nighttime. With those later reads, the trolls aren't up so early. You know what I mean? Early bird gets the worm, right? But, who knows what trolls are up to after they stop harassing people online. You guys see that the other day? Even Elon got trolled. They just started spamming like every other message, this and that, and it's like, yep, welcome to the internet, right? Some people be like, I don't need to worry about trolls. Well, you know what? I do block and report some people, especially if they're saying really nasty things, and because I feel like it's inappropriate for the rest of the people it came for to get something out of the reading. You know what I mean? If people want to do that on the internet, go start your own channel. Jump up and down, start your own channel. There's a whole barrage of TikToks out there, people jumping up and down looking for attention, and there's even more users of TikTok waiting to look at somebody jump up and down. So you don't have to come over here into the chat and troll and do it. You know what I mean? You're not really reaching the people that you think you're going to be reaching by doing that. Which is kind of why I prefer doing readings like this versus going to some of the fairs and stuff and markets. It's not that I don't enjoy doing that, but I can reach a lot more people doing this. I did open up for some personal readings this weekend. If you guys saw my social media post, if you're in the local area, that is available per request. So I may be doing some more of that as my schedule deems acceptable. Okay. So let's get the first romance angel out now that there's a few more folks in the chat. We'll keep it going. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. Okay, so if this is your weekend, how are you disconnecting? How are you retreating? Maybe you're getting out and you're like, hey, let's take a drive outside of town. Let's go look at the moon tonight. You know what I mean? Just you and me, or you and the dog, you and the kids, whatever it is, right? You don't have to be a part of the cycle of everybody's things going on in order to be a part of the world and still make a difference. Okay, that's called leadership. Just like I said the other day, people think, oh, if I'm not at that store, it's just going to fall apart, blah, blah, blah. Well, believe me, they'll find a way, right? So don't let that become a weapon of guilt when really what you need to be doing potentially is retreating, okay? And giving yourself that recharge time. There's nothing wrong with that. For yourself, it's time to take back control of your life. So you could have been feeling caged in, could have been feeling a little limited, could have even felt like a bit of a circus freak. You're like, what is going on here? Blah blah blah, right? Well, maybe it's because you don't want to be in that cycle of whatever, the washing machine anymore, and you're like, you know what, I've had enough rinses, all the soap is off of me, I'm ready to get out of that spin cycle now, right? And maybe it's your friends or your coworker. Well, why don't you want to do that? Your family, right? Oh, why don't you want to? And you're just like, I'm good on that. Nothing personal. It's just maybe not your cup of tea at the moment, right? So freeing yourself to guide yourself where you need to be, making your own decisions, right? So maybe there is something as well that is unique about you, and this could be part of the message to free yourself, to let yourself kind of be who you are, right? And so what if other folks can't handle it? That's a them problem at that point, right? You're not hurting anybody. You might be hurting their egos, right? And you're like, look, I don't, you know, that's on you, right? Heart to heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. Here's another thing too, collective. There's a lot of folks that are scared to like come get readings from people, but they'll watch a video. You know what I mean? So, just the way the world has evolved and changed over time and technology, use it to your advantage. Maybe you're somebody who is marketing a product. Use the internet to your advantage to create ads for your product, right? Um, where you might be reaching folks that, if you were just putting up signs in your neighborhood, you might not be hitting the right clientele. Okay. So having that heart to heart conversation with yourself, right? And it's like, maybe it's not that, maybe you started a lawn care business and it's like everybody says they need their lawn mowed, but blah, blah. Well, maybe you're not targeting the right area, right? Maybe you need to get into, go to the next town over into such and such neighborhood and, you know, try advertising there. You know what I mean? It's sometimes it's just a little shift, right? So having that heart to heart conversation, honestly discuss your feelings with each other. So you might be having some kind of conversations over the weekend. Yeah, let go of control issues. Yeah, so the full moon is kind of the time when it's like sometimes we find things out and it's like, oh, I was not aware of that, right? Yeah, exactly, because there's other things going on that you're just a bystander to in some instances, right? The illusion of control. Yeah, let go of the illusion of having control. So again, I feel like that's why I don't know. I got like this little itchy. I feel like I had a little tiny pimple under here, and it got itchy, and I picked at it last night. I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm probably like scratching and infecting it. Anyway, why does the human race do what they do? Right? Google that one. I already gave you guys those the other day. Let's go ahead and I will do the pulp. I'm gonna start with the pulp tarot. Okay. Remember, if it's not your message today, it's just, don't sweat it, right? It could be happening to somebody around you type thing. When it's the full moon, we get very sensitive to other folks' energies, um, things of that nature, okay? So again, the reading I did the other day, like if you're feeling agitated, it's like, remember there's a full moon. And then you might be like, oh yeah, and then stop worrying about it, right? So that could be part of the heart to heart conversation that you have. It's like, oh yeah, that's a them problem. That's a they problem. It's not a me problem today. Did you pay your taxes? Okay. Then you contributed to the benefit of society. All right. So, until then, get off my back, right? Until then, get off my back. Right? That might be part of the heart to heart conversation that you're telling somebody. You know what I mean? Because some folks want you to be their income source. Okay. It's like you may have a gifting, you may be the gift. Sure, fine. That person was born with certain gifting and abilities as well, because they chose to disregard those gifts, abuse those gifts. That's not your problem. That's a them problem. Okay. So don't start being somebody else's savior, right? Because they done effed up every opportunity that they ever had, right? I was just watching this comedian right before I got on the live, and he's an immigrant, and he was talking about his childhood experience versus his wife's, who she was born in this country, and I guess she had a very privileged upbringing, and she was telling him, like, let me tell you about a sad story from my childhood. He's like, okay. And she's like, well, I was with my dad at Disneyland. And he's like, wait a second. He's like, you had a dad and you were at Disney? He was like, oh, already you're winning in this story, right? You know what I mean? Sometimes it's kind of like, okay, yeah, there's different levels to this stuff, right? Where's the Trump sucks balls card? I don't have one of those. Maybe that's for a different channel. Am I an NPC? That's more of a gaming thing. Anyway, uh, get some help, ma'am. Thank you for your message. Thank you. I'm just scrolling lives to say have a bright and joyful day, everyone. Thank you, Bruce Bowling, for a very nice message sharing in the chat. Top of the morning to you back, James. All right. So anyway, yeah, so that old comparison is the thief of joy thing, comparing your life path to somebody else's life path, like that'll get you in trouble every time. But if you kind of just take it for what it is and realize it's like, wow, you know what, isn't that the dream, though, to have a childhood where your parent can take the kid to Disney and not have to worry about nothing, right? Isn't that the dream? Okay. So instead of saying, well, I didn't have that and they had this, maybe take something that's good about it and say, yeah, that's kind of cool. That's cool that, she got to experience that as a child. Maybe our kids can experience that, when they're of age for us to start dragging them out to amusement parks and such, right? So whatever you've worked for, whatever you've earned in life, especially if you are going on vacation, and I get it, the economy is like in the little ups and downs, and there's folks that are struggling currently, so you might be like, oh my God, what are people gonna think? We're going on vacation right now. Well, did you work for it? Did you earn it? I mean, in another year, something else could happen. You might not be able to go on that vacation. I'm just saying. So you have to live your life according to your own rules, not the guidelines of other people. Okay. Um, and for some of you, that might just be being financially responsible. You don't need to have a new car every 2-3 years. Some people, they got to lease the newest thing, right? Or have the newest clothes, or whatever. Like as soon as that tap money comes, it's spent. You know what I mean? And it might not be getting spent on things that, you would necessarily spend it on. But I'm just saying. Five of Swords. Yeah. Whoever thought that you were going to be their financial plan, right? And and they might be like, oh, how can you do this to me? And you're like, wait, me. What have you been doing? How have you been helping yourself? Last time I checked, you're not one of Jerry's kids. Okay, you don't need to go to Easter seals. You're pretty, you know what I'm saying? Some of these folks, they'd be crying, 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 and it's like, all you're acting like is a spoiled brat at Disneyland right now. That's what you might have to tell these folks. And leave it at that and say, and then the rest is their problem, right? Again, them trying to make their problems your problem. It ain't so. You're gonna have to straight up tell them it ain't so. And so the way you retreat from that, Maybe you got to change your email address. Maybe you got to get a new phone number, right? You know what I mean? Just saying. Protecting your peace is of utmost importance, and that is what, you know, God and the righteous path would ask of you to be doing, right? Yeah, you hear that sound, right? The sound of peace and joy and happiness and tranquility versus, hey, when are you getting paid next? It's like, well, how's that your business? Hey, how much money are you making right now? Excuse me, how's that your business? You ever notice that just upon first meeting, people want to get all into your business about what you got going in and out of your bank account? And it's like, all right, what's your end game? Because trust me, me first meeting you, I ain't gonna give you no money. I might only even have $2 in my pocket, but that don't mean I'm gonna give it to you. Okay. Right? Like, are you trying to sell me a bottle of water, or are you just being fucking nosy? Right? Yeah, you're gonna be letting the sun set on that conversation. So when the sun goes down tonight and the moon comes up, you'll be like, yeah, calling it what it is. Calling it what it is. You know. Scam City. That always happens around tax time too. Remember, the IRS will never call you, they say. They're only going to contact you via the mail, right? If they can find where you live, some of them people be jumping houses just to be evading the IRS, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, look at his grumpy little face. He's all mad at me, like, they found me. They found me. Yeah, sometimes they will find you. Yeah, they will. I was also thinking the other day, some of these criminals that owe the state all this money. I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars in fees and fines. You know what I mean? Like, do they just like automatically get nominated for the informant list? You know what I mean? Because otherwise, it's like, how is it that they're just walking around without a care in the world? Right? It's like I think they think somebody has their back, and in some cases, I think it's because they've turned informant. Because they owe so much money to these state entities, right? Because just think of the money that they already probably owe you, right? Yeah. Yeah. Whatever they owe the government, that is a lot more. It'd be a lot more. Oh, yeah. You can free yourself from thinking that person wouldn't be turncoating on you in a second, right? If it meant keeping their very indebted dumbass out of jail. Yeah. What was that? 12 inches of hell? Informant. Don't informant shame. I used to snitch back in the day. But you know what I'm saying? These are the folks that will steal from you. They steal from the government. They steal from everybody. They're the lowest of the low. It's just how they operate because they're operating on a low vibration. Okay. But, do your research. You know what I mean? Whoever you're dating, run a background check. In fact, run 2 background checks. You might find something on a different background check, like I did, right? This one debt of this one dude that I went out with. I mean, I didn't even know that until it was completely over. I was like, wow. It's like, no wonder why he was always after money, constantly after money, and he never had any, right? Yeah. Because he has some bad debts out there. Some big bad debts. Big bad debts. Yeah. Debts that people, take out their little cigar cutters for and threaten people about. You know what I'm saying? It ain't, this is not play money. This is not monopoly money, folks, that these people owe. This is some serious stuff. So when they come around you, right? Taxi. Oh, let's see if I can get a little bit out of this. And they'll say that they need to get clothes for their kid, or they'll say that they need to pay their rent, or they'll say they need a new tire. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. It's because they got bad debts to either drug dealers or the government. And they'll be willing to snitch to either one of those parties if it means saving their own ass. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the smiles and the little handshakes and the ha-has and yeah, don't be fooled. Yeah, sun card. This is, they thought you were like a naive child that couldn't understand this concept. You know what I mean? This is in part why abusers want to isolate people so they don't allow their mind to actually tap into what's going on. They only want to be fed, no, that's not happening, this is happening. They want you to be like this. But you're coming out like this because it's like you can wake up, I smelled the fucking bullshit a mile away. Okay? For my friends that know, we had that burnt toast smell this morning, okay, when I came outside. Everybody's town has some of those smells every now and then. And it's like, don't tell me that that's the sunshine factory. I know where that smell's coming from. But these are the folks that's what they want to snow you again. And some of them might think they can snow you through attractiveness, through dating you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look at them all single over there. Well, if they have somebody like me on their arm, then I bet I can just get anything I want, right? They thought you were just some little child, like childlike brain. And that's part of what their brain actually is. It's like a child. It's like not fully formed, right? Because any of their little schemes they might come to fruition, but there's consequences. And sometimes it means that they owe debts, not only to you, but to society as a whole, right? I'm talking, wage garnishment, all these types of things when they finally get a hold of them, right? So, yeah. 19, the number 19, Leo energy as well, may be significant for somebody. You might have Leo in your chart. This, whoever thinks that they can snow you, they also might have Leo in their chart and use it like as oh, I'm the magnanimous, whatever personality, la 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 la, you know what I mean? And then, but it's like, at the end of the day, did you actually talk about the details of the transaction or the deal? And you're like, they talk a good game, but I don't know about signing on that dotted line. So I'm telling you, don't do it, okay? It's not about a relationship with them. It's about my relationship with God and moving forward to bring the gospel of my Heavenly Father around the world with music and arts. That is a wonderful sentiment, Kelly. Yeah, definitely stay focused on, those creative projects, your routines, and things like that. When other folks want to get into your business a little too heavily, right? That's when you have to question. It's like, what's their end game here, right? Yeah, the star, Aquarius energy, healing energy, taking that creative power and really filtering it into you and not filtering it into saving people that don't want to be saved, into saving people that have done, whatever, right? Hey. It's full moon, other dogs in the neighborhood. So let's do one more. Son of the dog. Yeah. Alrighty, Pisces, Hangman. I believe that it was Neptune just left Pisces or something, right? There was something having to do with Pisces. So if you guys have been sitting on a decision, now's the time to kind of like cut your idea loose and let it fly. And that let your freak flag fly a little bit. You may also have Pisces in your chart, so if you are a Pisces, you may get a kick out of that, letting your freak flag fly. Anyway, yeah, look at that, Queen of Wands. You could be dealing with a Queen of Wands. So if you're a masculine that's dealing with, again, somebody that wants to kind of charm you, and be like, well, I'm beautiful, I have this, I have that, like, I'll be a good addition. And but really it's like, okay, then all of a sudden you're giving them money for manicures and get their hair done, and then you're paying the rent, and then it's like, and they're not working, and you're just like, wait a second, is this just a pocketbook exchange, or you know what I mean? Because having somebody that looks good to look at doesn't always meet the criteria at the end of the day, especially if they have a shitty personality to go with it, right? So, again, calling a spade, right? The great investigator Sam Spade, right? Sometimes when you watch those old things, it becomes very obvious, right? So step out of the situation and allow yourself to see where that sun is going, where it's headed, okay? All right. I think I got to get out of this reading, just because it's a little barky out here right now. But for those of you that did see my social media posts that are local, again, I am doing some limited scheduled personal readings, through probably likely through the fall. You know what I mean? So it's spring now, and then fall time I'd probably shut that down. So it'll be on occasion. Of course, again, the folks that know me on social media can reach out to me. It just maybe not, you might not get as fast as a response as coming on a scheduled reading day. Okay, so please do like the video if you have not already. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like a video, but it does help the algorithm. Also, please do be kind to others in the chat, okay? Yeah. So, how do I stay away from radicalized political ideals and think tanks? Turn off your television set, right? Listen to some Zappa, you know? Yeah, man, I'm a Gen Xer, so you know what I mean. I get it. I get, like, I'm on social media, but sometimes it becomes too much. So, that retreating, not engaging with every keyboard warrior that you come across and be like, well, that's not true, and that's not true. Some of these people, their whole purpose in life is just to spew lies to get a reaction out of you so that you waste your time defending yourself instead of going after and accomplishing what you need to be doing. Oh, yeah, right? Right? Okay, that's why they say turn the other cheek. Character building. I'm not saying let somebody beat up on you. Maybe you need to, get into the gym, learn some techniques. So if somebody decides to, jump you, you can pop their ass and let them know who they're fucking with, right? The FAFO, time is now, right? Right. Yeah. So, full moon energy. Oh, that dog out there is walking. You're going so slow. Not my dog. She'd be pulling, well, you can hear her. She gets aggressive on the walks too. She's ready to get out there and smell some stuff. She's ready. Likes to go after those animals. But all right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.